Good morning, Year 4. It's Tuesday and we're on week 2, lesson 2, halves and quarters. Okay, it's quite a tricky lesson today because it brings together all of your understanding of decimals and fractions in one place. Okay, so we're just going to start by revising quickly how fractions and decimals are actually the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to write some fractions on the board, and then I want you to write the decimal equivalent for them. Okay, so let's go for 3/10 is the same as, okay, or function, there we go. 3/10 is the same as 4/100 is the same as, and 27/100 is the same as, and a little sneaky one, 1 and 9/10 is the same as. So pause the video and write the decimal equivalent to each of those fractions and then check your answer. So 3/10, we have 0 whole ones and a 3 in our tenths. 4/100, we have 0 whole ones, 0 in the tenths, and 4 in the hundredths. Okay, and 27/100, there are 0 whole ones and 27 in our hundredths, which means we have a 2 in the tenths and a 7 in the hundredths. Okay, and 1 and 9/10 means that we have 1 whole one, okay, and 1.9 and 9 in the tenths. All right, so hopefully that should make sense, converting the fractions into decimals. And now we're going to do it the other way. So this time we're going to convert the decimals into fractions. Okay, so pause the video and write the equivalent fraction for each decimal. Okay, so 0.7, we have no whole ones and a 7 in the tenths. So as a fraction is written as 7/10. Okay, 0.77, we have no whole ones. Okay, a 7 in the tenths and a 7 in the hundredths. So this as a fraction is written as 77/100. Okay, 0.08, we have no whole ones, no tenths, and 8 in the hundredths. So that's just written as 8/100. And then in the last one, 3.1, we have a 3 in the ones. So we've got 3 whole ones and a 1 in the tenths. So we would write this as a mixed number. So it has 3 and 1/10. Now today we're going to be looking at really fractions created and decimals created out of, in one sense, number 100. Okay, so quite a lot of the first side of the sheet involves a 100 square. All right, so you have to shade in a half, a quarter, and write that as a decimal, right? But I also want you to think about how that would look as a bar model, okay? Because I think you'll find it sort of easier to see what they're trying to get at, okay? So we know that in our whole of our 100 square, there are 100 parts, okay? And then if we're writing our fractions, so this is the half, and this one is a half, we know that that is worth 50, and that is worth 50, okay? And then if I want to come down and divide it in half again, okay, that gives me 1 quarter, 1 quarter, 1 quarter, 1 quarter, and that means that if I look at that, if half is worth 50 and I've divided that 50 in half again into quarters, well, half of 50 is 25. Okay. All right, so if you haven't already, draw your bar model and show what half of 100 is and what a quarter of 100 is. Okay, and this is the big kind of step in understanding today, okay? Because we've got to convert these fractions into decimals, okay? So the easiest way to think about this is to make this fraction that we've written an equivalent fraction, okay? So we know that half of 100 is 50, so we write this as 50 over 100, okay? And this one is obviously equivalent 50 out of 100, all right? And here where we've got our quarters, we've got 25 out of the 100, okay? Right, so we'll write that as 25 hundredths, and we'll write that one as 25 hundredths, and that one as 25 hundredths, and the last one as 25 hundredths. Okay, and there are just some really common fractions that you are just expected to know the fraction decimal equivalent without kind of like having to work it out. You're just expected to know them, okay? Not that many of them, especially not in year 4. So a quarter is the same as, and look at it written like this, okay? Right, 25 hundredths. So there are 0 whole ones, okay, and 25, 0.25, okay? So there's our fraction decimal. Our half, all right, is the same as 50 hundredths, Alright, so we've got, again, no whole ones and 50, written as 0.50. Now, a lot of you are getting to grips with, you understand that a 0 at the end, only at the end of a decimal number, is not worth anything, so we get 0.5. Right, and my last one, which I'm going to have to squeeze in, okay, going to have to squeeze in, is 3/4. Okay, so I've got this quarter, and this quarter. Okay, so I've got 25, 50, 75. Right, which is the same as 75 over 100, which would be the same as, oh, I've just got no room, 0, I'll write it down here, I think, you see, yeah, 0.75. Okay, if you don't know where it came from, all right, I've got this quarter, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Okay, each quarter is worth 25 over 100. So 25 over 100. Add another quarter would give me 50 over 100. Add another quarter would give me 75 over 100. So I can actually help you a little bit by writing 75 over 100 there. Okay, which is the same as 0.75. All right, so you need to know these fraction decimal equivalents. You actually just need to learn them. All right, but hopefully by looking at the bar model, you should be able to see where they've come from as well. Okay, right. Now, what I'd like you to do is to complete the first page of the sheets, okay, and also the second page up to number 9. Okay, so do that now, pause the video and come back to it when you've done that work. All right, and we'll have a look at some of these questions in number 9 together. Okay. Okay, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a second video for today. So I'll upload this one and then do a second one with some examples of number 9, because I think you're going to need to see them drawn as a bar model to understand what is happening with the numbers. Okay, so do the sheet. Okay, stop when you get to number 9 and watch the second video. Okay, speak to you in a minute.